It's April 20th, 2024, and we're at Macarthur BART station to send off the last of the BART legacy fleet after 52 years in service. The Bay Area Rapid Transit, or BART as it's more commonly referred to, was started in 1972 with an original set of Roar rolling stock. This set of rolling stock, made up of A cars, which are front cab cars, and B cars, has run until 2024. It is 52 years old and set to be retired. BART has organized an awesome event for us today, where they will be running 3 sets of the last remaining legacy cars. They'll run one 5-car set on a VIP express run out to around Lake Merritt and then return back to MacArthur. And they will run 2 services, which are 10-car services, from MacArthur to Fremont, following the original opening day route. In the MacArthur Station Plaza, BART has a number of activities, including a display of a front end, a number of speeches, a setup for rail goods to sell merch, and a setup for the Western Railroad Museum, which will host 3 of these cars in its museum in the coming future. From these shots, it's clear to see this event was very well attended. BART made a promise that every person in line would get to ride a legacy train, even if it had to turn trains back from Fremont.
Are there people here who are on that first ride? Well, also on that ride is the big fellow who's behind me, Kevin Franklin and his family. Kevin is now our chief of BART police, and he's here to share the memory that he has from riding that very first day. Kevin.
Wow, what a crowd today. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank President Duffy and the gentleman, Bob Powers, for all their support. I'm here today, not just as the chief of police of the BART Police Department, but as a BART rider. My entire family are BART riders. In fact, I'm a lifelong BART rider.
After a number of speeches, we are allowed into the station where they have one station platform closed off exclusively for the legacy rides. The line was massive. I don't have an exact number of people, although I'm sure BART does, but it took us about an hour to an hour and a half to get onto the train. I didn't know it at the time, but this was one of the 2 10-car trains. The 5-car train had already departed. Although this was technically the second to last legacy train, we would get the chance to see the official last legacy train in Fremont. BART's legacy fleet is 52 years old, making it some of the oldest rolling stock in operation in North America. BART's original fleet is comprised of A, B, and C cars. The A and B cars were primarily manufactured by Roar and were entered into service with the system in 1972. Additionally, C cars were ordered when it became operationally challenging to operate the A cars because of their slanted, closed-off front. The C cars were all retired much sooner, and they were manufactured by Bombardier. They had lower reliability than the original Roar cars, so those did see removal from service far sooner than the A and B cars. BART's original fleet is pretty quirky. They run on a Indian gauge 5-foot gauge as opposed to the 4-foot 8.5-inch gauge of standard US railroads. They also have 2 doors on either end of the car, which BART found out made boarding slower, and they corrected on their new trains. The Legacy fleet was known for its comfort. It basically has a bunch of couches for seats, making these longer trips that BART did much more comfortable for commuters. For example, a trip from San Jose to San Francisco would take roughly an hour and would be really comfortable in these basically couch-like seats. In 2017, BART received the first of the Fleet of the Future. These new D and E cars would replace the A, B, and C cars of the Legacy fleet. The new Fleet of the Future cars boasted 3 doors instead of 2, larger seating, more accessibility, bike areas. They were generally more comfortable, but they were also easier to load and had a larger standing capacity, which was important pre-pandemic. Over the years, BART has slowly phased out its A, B, and C cars as it introduced more of the 700 cars ordered as part of the Fleet of the Future. After loading, our train sat on the platform for a few more minutes before we made our way to Fremont. In 1972, the system was opened by President Richard Nixon, and the system only comprised of the stations between Macarthur and Fremont. The Transbay Tube and stations in San Francisco wouldn't open until 1974. For the remainder of the ride, I'll leave you with the sights and sounds of the Legacy fleet.
Final run of this great Legacy fleet.
Just like always.
Time for me to retire. I was 5 years old, September 11th, in 1972. 5 years. You do the math.
Hey, tell us when was BART's birthday?
September 11th. That's the go.
Very end of the platform. Alright folks, you guys just witnessed history in the making right there. This would have been the last and final stop off of the Legacy fleet for a connector to the Oakland International Airport. That was history in the making. It'll only be on the Fleet of the Future from here out.
The platform at Fremont would get super crowded, especially when the second train arrived. Through pure dumb luck and stumbling around the platform, I eventually did make my way up to the wall to get a good shot of the last train. I have no clue how that happened, it just did. It was at this point that I found out that this was not the last train, and the last train was actually behind us, so getting that good shot was important.
Until it comes back.
Gone forever. I definitely met you.
Oh my God! How are you?
I'm at the other end of the platform.
One of these, they're either the ferry or the train. You get a picture.
Somewhere behind me.
I've been to a number of first and last train celebrations, but none of them quite compared to this one, as there was a ton of people and energy, and at this point I was pretty much pressed up against the wall, and very lucky to have gotten this spot. Since BART obviously does not terminate at Fremont anymore, this station is not usually used to turn trains around. So it seemed that with all the other normal trains in operation as well, there was quite a lot of signaling issues as the legacy trains waited for northbounds to pass and pretty much held up the entire system of southbound past Fremont.
Have a good day. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nice beats, nice beats.
45 years!
on it.
That's part for you.
Top 10 most anticipated anime sequels.
Back to Hayward.
I just sniffed the steel.
Best photo, but you know what?
Legacy. Into the sunset. That would have been better. Maybe that's what Hey.
And with that, the fleet of the future will be the face of BART for many years, hopefully another 50 years to come. We get one last look at the 3 legacy trains. These trains will be fully decommissioned, but 3 of them will be saved in a non-operational state at the Western Railway Museum. As of the editing of this video, these 3 cars have already arrived. There is A car, B car, and a C car. The B car is notable as it was the car that President Nixon rode in when he opened the system. 2024 proved to be a big year for Bay Area railroading as Caltrain also decommissioned its gallery cars, which had been running since 1985. I got a good look at those from the BART at Warm Springs Station as they are sent off to retirement. Wanted to give a special thank you to BART for putting an awesome event together. They definitely did not have to put together an event at all for something like this, so it's really great to see that a transit agency pays respect to the many engineers, operators, and people who've looked after these trains for the past 52 years. So in the end, everybody did manage to get onto a train, even though the line spanned multiple blocks away from the station, as the trains did not turn back to Macarthur as they had been rumored to, and they did all terminate at Fremont. In the months leading up to this event, BART pulled all of the legacy fleet out of service and put them into the Ready Reserve fleet. A short few months before the event, BART actually removed these trains from the Ready Reserve fleet and had them only for some limited training, and then stopped operating them altogether for a few months prior to this event. Ultimately, these cars really showed their age, and it is only because of BART's weird track gauge and setup that they lasted so long. As we bid farewell to Legacy Fleet, we thank you for watching this video, and please be sure to subscribe.